So, welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to our lecture series called Daily News and Shorts. In this lecture series, we cover a particular day's newspaper or the important news items in that day's newspaper in a very short span of time within 20 minutes. Now, today we are going to be covering August 30th, 2024's newspaper or the important current affairs from that newspaper. All right? And the important news items that featured in August 30th's newspaper are as following. So, let's take a look at the topics of the day or today's topics. Now, remember, a lot many other news items were also featured in this day's newspaper. Okay, August 30th's newspaper. There were many news items there, but we are going to be focusing our attention on these four topics alone. Okay, because we are civil services aspirants, and as civil services aspirants, we need to be able to shortlist important news items or separate important news items from non-important ones. Okay, so these were the four important news items that we need to focus on. All right, so pay close attention, give me your 100%, and we'll cover all these four news items. Okay, topic number one is INS Arighaat. This is a nuclear powered submarine that was recently commissioned in India's Navy, and this would improve India's defense capabilities, especially naval capabilities. So, what is INS Arighaat? We'll talk about this. Then recently, India and China held LAC, line of actual control talks. There was this border standoff, especially near the Galwan Valley, and it has been going on since 2020, right? India and China have been at each other's neck and have locked horns as far as their border standoff is concerned. Now, to de-escalate this border tension between India and China, especially in the Ladakh sector, India and China held talks. So we'll talk about this. Okay. Then recently, credit rating agencies, international sovereign credit rating agencies like Fitch, Standard & Poor, Moody's, they have upgraded or they have actually given positive news regarding India. Okay, so we'll talk about what sovereign credit rating is and what is their forecast regarding India's economic situation. Okay, and in the end, we'll talk about two martial arts sports called Jiu-Jitsu and Aikido. Why? Because Rahul Gandhi actually said that he used to practice these two martial arts every evening during his Bharat Jodo Nyaya Yatra. And he's also now going to launch a new yatra called Bharat Dojo Yatra. Dojo means akhada in Japanese. Okay. So he's going to launch that yatra. So for your general knowledge, because general knowledge based questions are also asked in prelims. So that is why we'll take a look at what Jiu-Jitsu, a form of martial art, and Aikido, again a form of martial art, is. Okay. So we'll talk about these two martial art sports. All right. So let's start with topic number one regarding India's defense capabilities, which is INS Arighaat. India got its second nuclear submarine with the commissioning of INS Arighaat into the Navy. So this is India's second nuclear submarine. India's first nuclear submarine was INS Arihant. Okay. Now, before covering this news, you need to have this information first. Okay. Now look, submarines are of two types, majorly. There are various types of submarines, but majorly, broadly, we can classify or categorize submarines into two parts. Okay, one is diesel-electric submarines. Diesel-electric submarines are also known as conventional submarines. Okay, the other is called nuclear-powered submarine. Now, what is the difference between the two? Now look, diesel-electric submarines, which are the conventional submarines and they are less costly. Diesel-electric submarines have a diesel and electric engine. Okay, they run on diesel. So because they run on diesel, that is why diesel needs to burn. Diesel is used as a fuel in these submarines. And how is this fuel used? We burn diesel and then the submarine gets powered. But for burning diesel, we need air. So that is why this submarine has to come after every few hours at the top, suck in some air and then go down. So this submarine, diesel electric submarines, have to come at the top every now and then. Okay. The other types of submarines are which are of superior quality, called nuclear powered submarine. They don't run on diesel engine. They run on nuclear reactors. So nuclear fuel actually powers these submarines, and therefore they don't need air also. So they don't need to come at the top of the ocean or a sea. Okay, they can stay underwater for days, even months. All right, so that is why they are more superior. Now, India has many diesel electric submarines, but India had up till now, only one nuclear powered submarine called INS Arihant, and now we have a second submarine called INS Arighaat. INS Arighaat will join its predecessor INS Arihant, strengthening the country's nuclear triad. Now, what do we mean by nuclear triad? Nuclear triad means that India should have the capability of launching nuclear missiles from air, land, and even sea. Now, INS Arihant and INS Arighaat both have nuclear powered missiles. So they can launch nuclear missiles. So if India is attacked in the future, India can launch a nuclear missile from a fighter jet, air, from land, and from these submarines, sea. So India has completed its nuclear triad. Okay. Now let's gather a bit more information regarding INS Arighat. So look, every submarine or a ship belongs to a particular class. So INS Arighat belongs to its predecessor's class called Arihant class. Okay, so INS Arihant as well as INS Arighat belong to Arihant class. It is a 6,000 ton nuclear propelled submarine belonging to Arihant class. It will be armed with indigenously made K-15 or Sagarika missiles. Okay, so it has Sagarika missiles, which are also known as K-15 missiles. These missiles are submarine launched ballistic missiles, and Sagarika missiles is nuclearly capable, so it can deliver nuclear payload. Submarine launched ballistic missile (SLBM) and Sagarika missiles range is around 750 kilometers. Also, all right, and this submarine, like INS Arihant, has a nuclear powered reactor called pressurized light water reactor. So basically, this submarine is propelled by this nuclear reactor, which is 82 megawatt. And because this submarine is nuclearly powered, like INS Arihant, both Arighat and Arihant can remain submerged for longer periods of time, many months underwater, and that's why they won't be able to be, or they can't be detected by enemies. Okay, the problem with diesel electric submarines is that they have to come at the top of the sea every now and then, and that is why it is easier to detect them. But it is not easier to detect nuclear submarines because they can stay underwater for longer periods of time. All right, so this has added India's naval capabilities substantially, and we need to establish our dominance in the Indian Ocean. So INS Arighat would be a contributing factor in that. Okay. Now let's talk a bit about the INS Arihant project. Okay. Now this project was regarding manufacturing India's own nuclear powered submarines. So India wanted to have its own indigenously manufactured nuclear powered submarines. Earlier, India had to import them. Now, India manufactured their own, very own nuclear powered submarines, and this project was known as Arihant Project. It was initiated 3 decades ago. The first ship under this project, INS Arihant, was commissioned in 2016. It did its first patrolling in 2018, and in 2022, it launched SLBMs. Okay, submarine launched ballistic missiles, same Sagarika missiles only. All right. So this is some information regarding INS Arihant project. Now let's straight away shift to or come to India-China LAC talks. Signaling some progress in diplomatic negotiations to resolve the standoff between Indian and Chinese troops that began in May 2020. So in May 2020, a border standoff between India and China began along the line of actual control in eastern Ladakh, especially in the Galwan Valley. It led to some violent clashes also in the Galwan Valley, because of which 20 Indian soldiers lost their lives. Okay, so this border standoff that started in the eastern Ladakh sector of line of actual control in 2022 is still going on. All right, both countries have stationed thousands of troops in this area. Now both countries have realized that we need to de-escalate this tension. All right, and that is why 31st meeting of working mechanism for consultation and coordination of India-China border affairs was held on 29th August in Beijing, and both countries have said that it has led to some significant results, and in future we'll see some results, we'll see some de-escalation along the border. Okay. Now this meeting is also significant because India and Russia are getting closer, and there is this BRICS summit that is going to happen in Kazan, Russia in October this year. And India has to attend this summit. Kremlin, which is the Russian office. Russia is sometimes referred to as Kremlin. For example, India at times is referred to New Delhi. Pakistan, we say Islamabad has said this, right? So Russia is referred to as Kremlin. So Kremlin has said that Narendra Modi has confirmed that he will come to the BRICS summit. And in this BRICS summit, China is going to be there. So we need to have a friendly undertone before the meeting takes place between India and China at the BRICS summit. And that is why both countries have sat down to resolve this issue. All right. Now, what is the current situation? Look, as you can see on the map over here, this red line is the line of actual control. Okay. This is Aksai Chin, which is under the control of China. This area is known as Shaksgam Valley. This was at one point of time under the control of Pakistan, but Pakistan gave it to China. So now this is under China. Siachen Glacier is with us. This red line is this area is with Pakistan. This area is with India. This red line also is LOC, between India and Pakistan. Okay, and this is LAC. All right. Now here is Galwan Valley, where clashes took place. Here are the hot springs of Gogra, where again clashes are taking place, and there is the Pangong So Lake, where there is dispute. So in these three areas, disputes erupted in 2020, and there has been some improvements, but still problem is still persisting. Both sides have contributed 50 to 60,000 troops along this area, so tensions are high. Okay, so remember this map. Okay, now let's move on to third news item, which is India's sovereign credit rating. Now, the three global credit rating agencies have upgraded India's growth outlook, affirmed its sovereign credit rating. There are three world-renowned credit rating agencies. Okay, Standard and Poor, also known as S&P, Fitch, and Moody's. Now, they provide credit rating to countries. Okay, now Fitch affirmed India's sovereign credit rating at triple B minus. Okay, and it said that India has a stable outlook. India's medium-term growth forecast is also high. Moody's said that India's rating is Baa3, and S&P has said that our rating is triple B minus. But they say that India is looking nice. Now, if you want to know what these words mean, triple B minus, Ba3, just take a look at this picture. Okay, this is the rating scale of S&P. This is Fitch. This is Moody's. Okay, so S&P, Fitch, and Moody give different credit ratings to different countries. Okay, so for example, S&P gives AAA to a country like USA, AA plus to Finland. Okay, AA minus, A plus, A minus, triple B plus, triple B minus. Now S&P has given triple B minus to India. Now as you can see, from this area till triple B minus, categories are known as investment grade. That means these credit rating agencies are telling the investors that you can invest in these countries. Okay. Then from double B plus till double B minus, this is speculative grade. That means highly risky investment. Okay. From here till here, highly speculative. From C till C minus, substantial risk. And this is junk status. Okay, you should not invest in these areas. So India belongs to the investment grade category, but India is at the lowest end of investment grade category. Now, what do we mean by sovereign credit rating, and why should we be interested in this? Look, these credit rating agencies, okay, provide sovereign credit rating, and by that rating, it is actually telling the credit worthiness of a country, that how good that country is doing economically. Now, why these credit ratings are important? Because investors, global investors, use these credit ratings to invest in a particular country. If a country has higher credit rating, then all investors would go towards that. Okay? Because that country is less risky. Higher credit rating ensures ease of accessing funds or investment from international markets. So India is aiming for higher credit rating. Why? Because that would make investors invest in India or give funds to India, right? So that is the case. But both these three credit rating agencies have said that in future they might upgrade India's status. India is looking promising. All right? Okay. Now let's move on to our last news item, which is Jiu-Jitsu and Aikido. Now, why were these two martial arts in news? Well, Rahul Gandhi, the leader of opposition in Lok Sabha, said on Thursday that during his Bharat Jodo Nyaya Yatra earlier this year, he had a daily routine of practicing Jiu-Jitsu every evening. And how did he practice? Wherever he went, young martial arts students came and he practiced with them. Now the question is, because general knowledge related questions are also asked as MCQs in prelims examination, so you need to be familiar with Jiu-Jitsu and Aikido. So what is Jiu-Jitsu? So it originated in Japan, 16th century Japan, during the age of samurai. Samurais were quite popular in Japan and powerful also from 12th to 19th century. Now samurais used to fight with a sword, and that long sword was known as katana. Alright, they used to call it katana. Samurais. But what if they lost their weapon? Samurais had to find a way out to fight without a weapon. All right, and that is why these samurais developed Jiu-Jitsu. It is believed that samurai warriors developed various grappling and self-defense techniques for situations in which they lost their weapons. Over time, this Jiu-Jitsu became so popular that it got exported to different countries, and different variations of Jiu-Jitsu also became popular. Okay, so the mother martial art was Jiu-Jitsu, and various different martial arts got developed or evolved out of Jiu-Jitsu. Other sports derived from Jiu-Jitsu. First of all, Judo. Judo was developed in late 19th century and became an Olympic sport in 1964. It was derived from Jiu-Jitsu. Sambo. Sambo is a Russian combat sport developed by Soviet Union's army so as to teach their soldiers hand-to-hand combat. Then Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Jiu-Jitsu got developed in Brazil with Brazilian techniques. Okay. Then MMA, mixed martial arts. And in the end, Aikido. And Rahul Gandhi is basically a black belt in Aikido. Okay. Aikido also got developed from Jiu-Jitsu, and Rahul Gandhi ji is a practitioner of Aikido. Okay. But that is not important because no question would be asked regarding Rahul Gandhi's preferred sport. They won't ask questions about Rahul Gandhi, but they will definitely, or they might definitely ask questions regarding these martial arts. All right? Okay. And with that, we conclude today's session. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. And I'm sure it added value to your preparation, and it would definitely add more value if you're consistent and regular with this lecture series. Not just this lecture series, daily news and shorts. If you're also watching daily MCQ practice lecture series, then it will definitely help you. Definitely help you in your next year's prelims examination. Okay? Daily MCQ practice is clearly, its clear aim is for prelims. Okay. By the way, daily news and shorts will help you in prelims as well as mains. So make these two lecture series a part of your daily routine. And by the way, if you want to download the notes for this lecture, detailed notes for this lecture in a PDF file, you can download that PDF file on our Telegram channel. The link to our Telegram channel is given in the comment section below. So go to the comment section below, click on the link of this Telegram channel, and there you'll find the PDF of this lecture. All right? Okay. Now I'll be signing off, and I'll see you next time with next day's current affairs. Thank you.